How much money can you actually make in tech sales? Short answer, a lot. I know people that are making millions of dollars a year as an individual contributor, as an employee to a company in tech sales. So really, there's not a ceiling. I'd say there's a glass ceiling. I'm going to start from the people I know that are making the most, but certainly there's people that have made more than this. But I do think as an individual contributor, it largely depends on what you're selling and how expensive it is, because most salespeople get compensated on a percentage of the revenue that they close. So if you're closing deals that generate more revenue, then typically you can expect to get paid a little bit more or maybe much more. That's not the only factor. It also depends on your compensation plan, depends on how much your company or the organization you work for is willing to pay you based on how much you generate in revenue. Everyone's different. There's some people that think, oh, you have to work at the big tech companies like Google or AWS or Microsoft or Salesforce to make the most money. That is a myth. That is absolutely not true. In fact, some of the most successful sellers I know work at companies you've never heard of. There were companies that have 50 employees, but they're selling multi-million-dollar deals and getting a percentage or a chunk of everything they sell. You can make a lot. I know folks right now, for example, that are pulling in $2-3 million a year. Those are kind of the highest paying folks that I personally know. Let's come back down to reality. I think there is a very good chance if you pursue mastery in the art and craft of sales that you can exceed 500K on any given year in tech sales. Again, there's some factors. There's your comp plan, there's the territory, there's timing, there's your team, there's your product. So there's some factors, but I would say the biggest factor is by far your sales skills, your ability to solve problems for customers and help them see the world differently. That's kind of really what we're doing as salespeople, is shining a light or helping our clients see the world through a different lens or a different perspective so that we can help them solve problems. So there's lots of different ways to frame it. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. You can make a lot of money. Now let's get to like what's most likely. I think what I see and what is most likely if you're an account executive, there's different tiers of account executives. There's those that serve small businesses, mid-sized businesses, large businesses, and enterprise. On the small business side, you can expect year one making somewhere around 100, maybe 120K. Year two, that could go up to 150 or so. Year three, you're probably promoting to a mid-market. You can go up to like 175. Year four, promoting again, maybe to an enterprise. That's where we can start getting up to 250, 300. I think by year 3 or 4, it's not unrealistic for people to get into the 250K range. I think that's kind of average for sellers to be taking home. And that's if you look across the board, across like small, mid-size, and enterprise. I think the average seller is probably bringing in somewhere around 250K total. That includes base and commissions. Now, once you promote and get to enterprise roles, it's much more realistic to start exceeding 300, 350, 400, because the compensation plans are typically a little bit better, but you're also bringing in more revenue per deal because you're typically probably selling more expensive items or offerings or solutions. Hopefully that sheds a little bit of light. I think if I want you to walk away with anything, your typical average account executive after about 2, maybe 3 years is making about 250K in earnings. And then from there, you really start to get good, master the craft, and you're going 300, 350, 400K after year 4 or 5. Hopefully that helps.